returns with sweet treats, dazzling views, the world's largest walk-through digital Christmas tree, and over 1 million colorful lights. Visit CRockCity.com for tickets and special weeknight pricing. And I'm Swarteen 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick for
Radio 92.7.
Listen to that. That's the sound of power and the call of the open road. That's the sound of the newly designed 2019 Indian Chieftain Limited. Yeah, Indian. It's more than a bike. It's an experience and an American icon. The place to find it, Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga, along with their entire new 2019 line. The open road is calling. Answer the call. Go to Indian Motorcycle of Chattanooga. Just look for the sign on 153 and Amnicola. Indian Motorcycle, the true American original.
Nooga Radio 92.7's First Responder Friday. If you would like to nominate a first responder for First Responder Friday, email noogaradio@gmail.com. noogaradio@gmail.com. Nooga Radio 92.7's First Responder Friday.
Where to go for lunch today? Go to the Top. The Top of the Hill Country Buffet offers a delicious lunch buffet every day. Golden fried chicken with mashed potatoes from scratch, daily fresh vegetables, a full salad bar with all the fixins, and fresh homemade cobbler. In addition to the buffet, Top of the Hill also offers a full menu. Plus, kids eat for $5 all day. Top of the Hill is located in Ringgold on Remco Shops Lane and is open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Sunday. Where are you going for lunch? Go to the Top.
The station you hear everywhere. Nooga Radio 92.7.
From the valley low to the mountaintop, give you guys a bird's eye view. In the state of Chattanooga. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. This is another beautiful Monday. I hope everyone has had a beautiful weekend. It's going to be a little bit warmer than it has been today, which I'm a little bit excited about. Today's show is going to be talking about the real after a rather surprising article that came out yesterday in the Chattanooga Times Free Press. Dear citizens of Chattanooga, it's time for us to face the truth of our choices, the truth of what we're up against, the future of this city. I know people are buying into cliche sayings, and I guess because I was raised Pentecostal, I grew up in a church, I'm over cliches, I'm over tired sayings and even new invented sayings. People talking about living their best life. We're not living our best life if we're not leaving anything for the next generation. Let me keep it real with you. The word of God, as much as people say that they love God and we're in the most church city in America, the word of God says only the wicked leave no inheritance for their children. I'm just keeping it real. So if we're not leaving anything, if we're not leaving money or wealth, if we're not leaving opportunity, jobs, if we're not leaving affordable housing, if we're not leaving this city better than how we found it, then you're not living your best life, baby, because you are setting up your next generation of your family for failure. And it's time for us to face the facts and face the truth of what we're really in, the situation that we're in, how dire it is. And we need to stop lying to ourselves and embrace the truth. It's tough. I know it's so tough. I know it's tough, but we got to keep it real. And that's what my show is all about. Not giving anybody fluff. I encourage you, but at the same time, I got to hit you with what is true. And that's what my life story is all about. As always, streaming live on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM Facebook page. Like it if you have not already. YouTube as well. The calling number is always the same, 800-8949. Before I start this, I want to take a moment to think about a beautiful man who died yesterday, who I grew up with, Mr. Minister Alfred Polk. May you rest easy, sir. And I am praying for the Polk and the Bragg and the C family in the city of Chattanooga, a very, very talented, musically inclined, gifted family. I am certainly praying for Lauren Polk, for Alfred Polk Jr., and for Valerie Polk. I love you guys, and I'm thinking about you, even on the show today. November the 19th, 1863, these words were recorded by Mr. Abraham Lincoln. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hollow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work, which those who have fought for thus so far nobody has nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead, we take the increased devotion to that cause for which they gave their last full measure of devotion, that we highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, and that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. That government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. The goal of a government of the people, by the people, for the people is to ensure that what is done is in the best interest of the people. And that is the whole purpose for a democratic process in running, and in particular voting, is to ensure that the government of the people, by the people, for the people will have things done in the best interest of the people. But it has come to our attention, if you've just been paying just a half of a millisecond of attention, it's come to our attention that this government of the people, by the people, for the people, steps on the people. That now that we have developed our city so much, now our city council wants to backtrack and have conversations because people are so desperate. Developers are so desperate to build in a lot of changing areas such as North Shore, South Side, and other historic neighborhoods, St. Elmo. They're considering building in steep slopes and floodplains. It's gotten so bad that really since about 2012 onward, COA, Chattanooga Organized for Action, Concerned Citizens for Justice, the Lincoln Park Neighborhood Association with Tiffany Rankins and Tom Kunish, we've had several different people continuing to push. Eric Atkins, Charlotte Williams. We continue to have people like the Hamilton County Black Caucus. There have been so many individuals have continued to push for the acceptance in putting $1 billion specifically downtown has cost the surrounding areas of our city advancement. And a lot of people don't even understand when you look at the history of a place like Chattanooga. If you want to do your due diligence, I encourage you to read Constructing the Dynamo of Dixie, Race, Urban Planning, and Cosmopolitanism in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It's an excellent read by Courtney Knapp assistant professor and graduate coordinator in urban and regional planning at California State Polytechnic University. When we look at how Chattanooga even got to be worked to be invested to be the dynamo of Dixie, the Southern Belle, the crown jewel in the South, it happened at the expense of African American and Native American people. Don't believe me? You struggle to believe me? Take a drive downtown. Take a walk downtown and stop for a second and notice the signs that you will see downtown that say the original route of the Trail of Tears. Good morning, Steve. Look at COA's write-up of Lincoln Park. I heard yesterday on a radio show the ignorance of people because they don't do their due diligence. They rather just talk. That the $2 million that Anthony Berg continues to push that the neighborhood accepts for Lincoln Park, which I'm going to have Tiffany Rankins and her mother on the show on Friday, and I'm so excited about that. That the neighborhood needs to take the $2 million and let them continue to build a road through the neighborhood. And what people don't understand is the cultural significance of Lincoln Park. I've seen the bathhouse. I've seen the structure that now belongs to Erlanger, where the Olympic-sized swimming pool that Black people could swim in because this city was segregated, and it's still segregated right now. The only places that we could swim, the only place where we could play ball and play tennis, play baseball, we had a Negro leagues at Lincoln Park. Do we not understand just the African-American culture? But if we dig just a little bit deeper, I've had Tom Kunish come on the show and tell us about the Muskogee Native Americans, which had an altar where they would pray and offer up libation, as what we call it in the African-American context, a libation for being grateful for what they had. And our city wants to bulldoze over that. And for people who are just now listening and you've never heard this before, Lincoln Park just turned 100 years old this year. We have no historical African-American neighborhood in this city at all. No preservation of African-American context in this city at all. If we don't understand that with gentrification has come the erasing of a culture, and that James Baldwin said that urban renewal is Negro removal, then we certainly, if we can't even face the simple truths and the simple consequences of our actions, we won't be able to dig much deeper beyond that. But I don't know, for a brief moment in history, because I've been wondering about the Times Free Press. Y'all know me, wartime consigliere. I keep it real. The Chattanooga Times used to be an excellent paper where they actually wrote about things from a neutral, honest perspective. And I feel like in a lot of instances, a lot of the things that they put out now are very dry. Some of them are partial and really afraid to tell the truth about what is going on here in the city of Chattanooga. And so yesterday's article is Chattanooga falling behind on its growth forecast. Chattanooga's growth forecast cloudier than expected. We see a tale that despite the fact we've put tens of millions of dollars into a rather dry version of a downtown park, despite the fact that we have built the question, who can afford these? We've continued to allow to come in and buy up Everyone talks about how dynamic and beautiful this city is. But the ideology of if we build it, they will come. This isn't the movies. The only thing that keeps or allows people to be able to keep up with this rapid development and growth as far as money spent is what is the current status of our workforce? If we know that the average household in the city of Chattanooga, if they're white, is making less than $50,000. And if we know that the average African-American family is making less than $25,000, how can they afford to live in this new Chattanooga that we're building? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Talk to me.
Yeah, I just want to say the city planners here in Chattanooga are completely delusional if they think that this housing boom, with this growth boom, is going to last any time at all. They're totally looking at the short term. They think they're looking at the long term, but they're only looking at short-term numbers and assuming they're going to continue on that trend. Once the tech bubble pops and once the housing bubble pops again, this is all going to go under, and people are not going to be happy. The election season's coming up.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So the typical Chattanoogan, let's look at some facts. The typical Chattanoogan earns 22% less in their particular field, just about no matter what that is. Good morning. Than other cities all across this nation, as well as less than the other 4 major metros in the state of Tennessee. As a matter of fact, the city of Chattanooga lost 160 marketing, sales, research, and development jobs as Sanofi, the French pharmaceutical giant that purchased Chattanooga company Chatham in 2010, certainly doesn't help. And the crazy part, if you keep on reading the article, is that this is nothing new. COA alone, Chattanooga Organized for Action, and Concerned Citizens for Justice have continued to put out information about the trend of the housing market, the two Chattanooga situation that we have long since had, and the fact that when we throw in 2 cups of overdevelopment and this huge divestment of neighborhoods outside of the inner city. And the crazy thing is that it happens exceptionally in communities of color, but it is even happening in communities that are white. And this is one of the things that we have to understand. The whole purpose why I tell people that solidarity is the way is because I firmly understand if they'll do it to the least of these, you're next. If they've locked all of us up and they need prisoners, who are they going to come for next? Questions nobody wants to ask. We're even so despicable as a city and surrounding areas that we have decided to criminalize homeless, poor people. Is it any surprise that we would end up in a cyclical downturn if we misappropriate funds by divesting funds from areas outside of the city? I'm telling you, a lot of people just don't know how bad it is. And a lot of people don't know how bad it is because they don't go into any other neighborhoods besides the ones that they live in. And I'm telling you, I see it all the time. West side, south side, because I got friends and family and I volunteer and I walk these areas. I've handed out Know Your Rights cards in these areas. I've talked to gang members in these areas just so I can understand why they're in this life, why they won't leave. And it's because there's no avenue for them. And if you can get paid on the street, and I understand they're going to want you to go into a manufacturing job because that's all we can seem to attract to the city is just back-breaking manufacturers that are only going to pay people $10 an hour when this article says if you want to live in the city of Chattanooga or in Hamilton County, rather, with just one child, you need to be making $21 an hour. Who's paying that? Questions. We've oversaturated the market to where not only is it virtually impossible to get in housing, it's almost virtually impossible for people to be able to rent in this city. And the interesting thing is I'm glad that they got some important people, because nobody who is important would believe this if this came out of the mouths of poor people or people who are just common citizens, because it has for years and nobody has listened. So maybe now, because we have people who are business people or who are part of very, very large organizations and nonprofits, now maybe possibly, but it doesn't still even seem like that. It seems like the mayor and the city council are doubling down on the stupidity. And how do I get that feeling if you have people like Councilwoman Burrs last week, when we have $9 million that we need to go collect from UTC and from the Hamilton County government and stormwater fees, that says that this is illusory debts, but they will put your mama and your grandmama and your grandpa out on the street if they get behind on their taxes. That we've abated $26 million. And when I talk to people who are on the council, they have the righteous indignation to tell me that the city council is not a collection agency. But the last time I checked, when I looked at agendas, they approve a good portion of the pilots and tests that happen in this city. You see, we didn't get into this situation by accident. We got into this situation because of choices. And often in the face of blatant truth and evidence of our choices, leaders have refused to do what is right. And I'm getting ready to pull the rug out from every last one of them. Because I deserve to have a future in this city. My generation deserves to have a future in this city. The children I haven't even had yet deserve to have a future in this city. And if you're living your best life now at the expense of me, I'm coming for you. Stay tuned for the second half of the segment.
3, 2, 1.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news. Now.
A water main break caused big problems in Dalton this morning. Whitfield County Emergency Management said the burst occurred beneath Walnut Avenue in the Dalton bypass. GDOT was called in to reroute traffic. Dalton Utilities say the area of Highway 52 near Walnut should be avoided for several days while they work on repairs. Skeletal remains were found by a hunter in the woods off of Boy Scout Road in Hickson. The Sheriff's Office medical examiner says the remains are human. A Facebook post from the Sheriff's Office says the area is still under active investigation as they work to find out who the bones belong to. And the Riverbend Festival may shorten its stay from a whole week down to just a weekend. A business owner tells the Chattanoogan that a reason behind this may be the disruption to downtown businesses that the festival brings. Festival officials are discussing the possibility of shortening it. Val St. John for Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News Now.
Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 p.m. on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
The kids are back in school, routine has returned, and we've shifted our thoughts to the fast approaching holiday season. Are you hosting? Want to spruce up before your guests arrive? Whether you want new color and exciting wallpaper or elegant window treatments, the designers at Chattanooga Paint and Decorating can help. With brands like York, Tebow, Graber, and Carroll, we know you'll find something you love. Stop by Chattanooga Paint and Decorating today. It's really more than just a paint store. On Hickson Pike, across from Valvoline, or online at ChattanoogaPaint.com.
Gold, 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 and more gold. And always buy American. At Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds, you'll always get better rates than the banks. We'll convert your silver, diamonds, cash into gold, gold, gold. Precious American gold. Certified by the federal government. by American. Rick Davis Gold and Diamonds. 499-9162. Call 499-9162. And visit Rick at 5301 Brainerd Road, Chattanooga. Gold, 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 and more gold.
For your small business, ending the year the right way can set you up for success come January. No need to let end-of-year panic set in. Easy Books and Taxes can help set up your books or new payroll service so that you can relax and enjoy the holiday season. With 35 years, bookkeeping, individual, and business tax preparation, it's easy. With Easy Books and Taxes, you run the business, we keep the books. Call us today at 423-755-0821.
Your home is a constant work in progress. Repaint the walls? Yeah, easy enough. Leaky faucet? There's a video for that. But roof repair? You might want some help. That's where Chattanooga roofing contractors come in. They have 3 generations of roofing excellence you can count on. Leave the ladder in the garage. Go to chatroofing.com. That's chatroofing.com for Chattanooga Roofing Contractors, a roofing company you can trust. Man, you sure you know what you're doing?
Yeah, I worked with my dad on his truck all the time. Just one more bolt to go.
Yeah, wrong bolt. Today's truck ain't your daddy's truck. For repairs on today's vehicles, you need AMCO Transmission and Total Car Care of Chattanooga on Lee Highway. Stay on the road, not in the garage. AMCO Transmission on Lee Highway. Get it done the right way. The Thompson Pet Way. Yeah, I just put that anywhere.
Hi, this is Scott Schrader. Tune in Saturdays for We've Got You Covered. From finance to fixtures and all things in between, when it comes to your home, we'll help steer you in the right direction. We've Got You Covered, 10 to 12 every Saturday on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Some more clouds will roll in from the west for your afternoon. Mild highs into the lower 60s. Can't rule out a spotty late shower tonight. A few early showers. Lows into the lower 40s. Drier, cooler Tuesday. Highs 50 to 53 with lows near 30 by Wednesday morning. Rock City's Enchanted Garden of Lights returns with sweet treats, dazzling views, the world's largest walk-through digital Christmas tree, and over 1 million colorful lights. Visit CRockCity.com for tickets and special weeknight pricing. And I'm Sorgene 12, Chief Meteorologist Matt Rapport.
Nooga Radio 92.7.
Company stated in the Chattanooga article yesterday, you can't escape the economics. We can't expect to attract a working age population without healthy jobs. Now, this year has been a year of truth about the state of the city of Chattanooga. From us being labeled as the 7th worst ran municipality in the nation, above Flint, Michigan, which still does not have clean water. And crazy enough, an article came out this morning about a coalition of parents who want their children to be tested for lead in their blood on the south side of Chattanooga. Now, I have a philosophy, which is you cannot overcome what you do not confront. Until we acknowledge that we have grossly misunderstood what it takes to build a city, that you can't build a city off of the inequities of people. You know, I talk a lot to the people who are watching on my personal Facebook during the break. And this city, at the expense of a lot of areas, some of us really just don't know how bad it is. And I'm thankful that people have reached out to me, and I had an opportunity to have 3 people here on my show who are homeless, and 2 of which have been waiting for housing for 3 years. We spent $1 billion downtown. Part of that is private investment, but a lot of that is city money as well. We spent $1 billion. What could $1 billion do for all of these underdeveloped, disenfranchised areas in the city of Chattanooga. And I've said it from a very earnest standpoint because I've lived here all my life. I've told people that the people who are buying housing, and this is also in the article, if you'll read it, they're not young people. The people who are coming here and have snatched up housing are baby boomers. Often, people not even from here. Because we've touted Chattanooga as this progressive city, of course people are going to come in here and be interested, and everybody had dollar signs in their eyes. Oh, I'm going to buy this historic home and be able to flip it and make me some money, make me some quick money. And for a good portion of people, that hasn't been the case. We've seen the cost of downtown. Let's look at it. Downtown homes in 2012. Median sales price, $92,000. That's quite affordable. I could afford that. 2012, I could afford to live downtown. And if that was downtown pricing, that means the average price in the area is probably around downtown was maybe $60,000. I can assure you. Downtown home pricing 2018, $226,000. I don't know about you, but being a millennial, I can't afford that. And I've lived in the city all my life. This information came from the Greater Chattanooga Realtors Association. So this came from the people who know what's really going on. Downtown vacancy is at its highest right now. 7.4% of the properties downtown are currently vacant. We have poured so much money into luxury apartments and condominiums, places like passenger flats. These people have built all of these fine apartments. Bluebird Row Apartments, Market City Center. Who can afford for a 600 square feet space, which is a studio apartment? Any of my listeners can afford $1,100 a month for a studio? I would just like to hear anybody's feedback. Has it been impossible for anybody out there to find housing in the city of Chattanooga? If you've been interested in buying a home, has it been hard for you to purchase a home in the city of Chattanooga? I would love to hear your experience in either renting or an owning situation in the city of Chattanooga, even if that's downtown or if that's not downtown. But the crazy thing is that dumping all of this money downtown directly impacts all of the surrounding areas. And so while a lot of us, like I grew up maybe 6 minutes away from downtown, Chattanooga is so funny that the zip code that I grew up in, 37404, is the most aggressively gentrified zip code in the nation. Chattanooga is so funny. About 5 or 6 minutes from downtown, Bushtown Neighborhood Association, right around the corner from, I could almost spit across the street and see Carver Center and the baseball field. All of the money being dumped downtown has increased not only the cost of living downtown, but has increased the cost of living in the areas where poor people are. The poor people who don't want to live downtown, the poor people who never wanted to live downtown, the poor people that can't afford to live downtown. So now it's even expensive for you to even live close to downtown. I kid you not. I live on Lynbrook Avenue, and a house that was boarded up I saw the pictures of the inside. It looked absolutely awful. The house was for sale because it's right off Main Street for $100,000 and probably isn't worth 10. Of course, it didn't sell. Let's continue to look at this. In 2017, rental rates in 2007, that was just last year, because I don't think we understand how bad it is. In 2017, rental rates rose nearly 5 times faster than working wages in Chattanooga. That's even including apartment rental rates. And so because of this saturation of the market, see, every decision that we make has consequences, good people. And the crazy thing is if you're a grandparent or if you're a parent and you want your children to stay here, go to college here, you expect your children to maybe come back here after they leave to go to college, if possible. It's going to be impossible for them to find a living wage job here because Chattanoogas get paid 22% less in their particular fields than the people not only in this state, but all across the nation. So they're not going to get a nice living wage here. But then with that scrimp of a living wage, they have nowhere to live. Whether they rent or whether they buy. And what a predicament to be put in. So you want to come back. Do we not even think about the implications of what this means for children who go away to get schooling and decide they want to come back home and they have nowhere to come to? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Talk to me.
Hey, so listening to what you're saying, talking about properties that are available, there's actually properties. If you look in between, say, going from 3rd all the way over to Wilcox, just drive through there one day. The number of boarded up duplexes that are over in that area, there's available housing over there. But one problem that you run into is the policy of the city to say if one of those properties goes without power for more than 90 days, they'll pull the zoning for that. And now anybody wanting to buy that property to be able to provide affordable housing to people, they've got to go in and convert that that duplex into a single family dwelling, which is going to be, cost prohibitive on that. And then of course you're not going to get rental rates in that area that are going to be able to, make those available to people that need lower income housing. But there would be the ability for somebody like me to come in, take those, put a little bit into them, and maybe, those can go into the Section 8 program or things like that. So there can be incentive for people who want to actually come in, buy properties. Maybe they don't want to do what, is happening over in some of these other neighborhoods that are being overly gentrified. But, people that want to make a solid investment, not make a killing, but be able to provide housing and then be able to turn a profit as well. Because there still has to be incentive for the investor to turn a profit or it's just not going to get done. But, a lot of people are talking about gentrification, and gentrification is kind of a two-edged sword. Yes, it does price some people out of the market, but then also for people who have owned their homes in a area that is being gentrified, that could be an absolute financial windfall to those people. So, because maybe they had a house that they didn't feel like was, that nobody felt like was really worth anything, but now they've got a house that's worth, up to double what it might have been worth 10, 15 years ago. So for somebody who is older and is looking for, the means to maybe fund their retirement or something like that, then those things are, gentrification is good for them. So
I would have to disagree with that because I've talked to several, in particular with Area 3 planning meetings throughout the city of Chattanooga. There have been plenty of people that I have talked to that are elderly that have been priced out of or on the way of being priced out of their neighborhood And I want people to understand something. Everybody's not looking to pack up and move to the country. I'm being real. Everybody is not looking to pack up and move to the country. Everybody's not looking to sell their home. And so that could be a perception, but unless you've actually talked to a lot of elderly residents, and I've talked to residents in Lincoln Park, and I've talked to residents, older people who live in the neighborhood, the Bushtown Neighborhood Association, in which that I'm from. I've talked to some elder people on the other side of Lynbrook Avenue on Morningside and Eveningside Drive. I've talked to plenty of people who are not interested in selling their home. They get priced out because of their taxes. Let's be real. As a matter of fact, that was in this article that a lady who owns a business, her daughter owned a home near downtown and the taxes went up $200 and she had to sell her home. So even younger people who have bought housing, maybe at 2010, maybe right after they got out of college, right after they graduated high school, maybe a house was gifted to them. Let's be real. Some people have houses given to them. Maybe auntie left you a house in the will, right? Everybody is not interested. and their home may double or even triple in some of these areas in the value. But there is a huge but. But with that comes an increase in the taxes. And so now we have grandmama and even young people who've got to pack up and sell, not because they want to, but because they can't afford to pay the taxes. And in particular, if you're a young person, you can't freeze your taxes. They just started this program for our elderly folks here that they can freeze their taxes. But the problem here is not really these smaller things. There's overall larger problems because a lot can be said about gentrification. Gentrification is not really the most important thing here. The important thing here is that we have bought into this perception. We're wasting money on bikes, downtown area. If it hadn't been for Grubhub and other entities like that, a lot of these downtown restaurants would close their business because they're not even getting the foot traffic. We're doing stuff that does not work. We're taking models from places, and I just encourage people. Is Chattanooga falling behind on its growth forecast? Chattanooga Times Free Press article from yesterday. When we have people who sell $1 million homes are encouraging people, if you live downtown, you need to go on ahead and sell right now before it gets all bad and it's impossible for you to sell. See, the beautiful thing that I don't have to worry about because of gentrification and the decisions that Chattanooga leadership and even our developers have made has been because you guys have saturated the market so bad, you have no choice but to lose your shirt in this market. You have no choice but to face the fact that you're going to make it so bad to where it's going to be inevitable for you to be even to stay in this game of profiting or making any of your investment back. You're going to have to lower rental rates. You're going to have to sell at a reasonable rate. It's not going to be a choice that you can really get out of. And so that's why I'm not really worried about whether people want to do right or not. Kelly from Kelly Subaru said it best in one statement. You can't escape the economics. We can't spend our way out of this. We can't build our way out of this. If we're losing jobs and if we're already not paying people a living wage, what young people are going to come here to be the workforce for this city, the driving force for this city? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Talk to me.
Yes. How are you, Marie?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Just fine. This is Johnny. Yes, I heard you mention about how you walk through the neighborhoods and you can see the things that are happening that is not good. Well, I'll tell you a little situation that happened to me. At the end of October, I got okayed for an $80,000 mortgage. and I had problems finding a decent house for $80,000. So there was one property. It was a little house for $119,000, and so the friend of the mortgage company, this real estate lady, I told her that I had found that house. She said she'll call me back. So she called me back and said, well, since you just got okayed for $80,000, a drop from $125, because me and my son had seen it on Zillow for $119. And she said it was $125, and say $125 between $125 and $80,000 would be a low drop. But what I'm getting at, she done forgot that you're supposed to make an offer. She's up here presuming, just because me being me, she figured that she didn't even go through the trouble to say, well, we could, if you like the property, we could, get with the owners and see what they say. She didn't even give me any type of encouragement.
Wow. I am so sorry to hear that, but that's not really surprising. Let's look at this. Now that interest rates are increasing, because a lot of people got in this market, really it was like a perfect storm. A lot of people got in this market right at the perfect time, right? There was a lot of money being spent. Interest rates were very, very low. Now interest rates are back up again. Many would-be first-time home buyers can no longer afford a home. A difference of a few $100s due to interest rate hike or property tax increase or both is preventing many from entering the home buying market. And this will have serious implications for all home sellers, says Robinson, who caters to the highest end of the market. My theory is that each 1% increase in a 30-year mortgage rate will prohibit 200 first-time buyers from entering the market. Every first-time buyer triggers about 7 sales. So we lose 1,400 transactions. That has happened in just the last year, he said. We have to focus on affordability to drive the entire economy. When the bottom falls out, it becomes a slow burn. Wow. Chattanooga is in the top 20 of vacant homes sitting in all cities across this nation. In the metro Chattanooga area alone, 4,483 homes are vacant, or 2.4% of all households. I don't know about you guys, but guess what comes after the boom, baby? It's the bust. And this bust that we have blown up with false hopes, false dreams, and a whole lot of money. Oh, it's going to have some serious fallout for the city of Chattanooga. It's your girl Marie Mott with the Marie Mott Show. If no one is taking this time today to tell you that they love you, I love you. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about that.
3, 2, 1. Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news. Now.
A water main break caused big problems in Dalton this morning. Whitfield County Emergency Management said the burst occurred beneath Walnut Avenue in the Dalton bypass. GDOT was called in to reroute traffic. Dalton utilities say the area of Highway 52 near Walnut should be avoided for several days while they work on repairs. Skeletal remains were found by a hunter in the woods off of Boy Scout Road in Hickson. The Sheriff's Office medical examiner says the remains are human. A Facebook post from the Sheriff's Office says the area is still under active investigation as they work to find out who the bones belong to. And the Riverbend Festival may shorten its stay from a whole week down to just a weekend. A business owner tells the Chattanoogan that a reason behind this may be the disruption to downtown businesses that the festival brings. Festival officials are discussing the possibility of shortening it. Val St. John for Nooga Radio News Talk 92.7 Action News Now.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio, Chattanooga weather.
Some more clouds roll in from the west for your afternoon. Mild high.